Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And for those of you who don't know, DearMamaSal is not just me; it's a group of us who get together, including Jeannie, that I've seen is here already. Hi, Jeannie. Good to see you. Jeannie's one of our admins. Um, oh, she's saying it's a beautiful day in Maine. She lives in Maine, obviously. And that they've just mowed her lawn. Wow, that's pretty early. Mind you, I have had to do my bank, so I agree with that. All right, and so um, I just want to let you know that we're just waiting on Jody getting here as well. She's our main admin, and we will be talking today on a number of subjects, but owing to the fact that it's Sunday and we talk about coping with stress, one of the things that I don't think I mentioned on Friday, apropos of my physical that I had at my doctor, there she is, hi Jody, um, was the fact that my cholesterol had gone up. Now, for some reason, he hadn't mentioned that, that was done back in February. And he hadn't mentioned that when he renewed my medication, probably a mistake, and we all make them, right? And I love this quote. I think I did quote it before, but I want to do it again. Mistakes should be examined, learned from, and discarded, not dwelled upon and stored. So the reality is that he said to me, Sal, your LDL has gone up. Now, for those of you in the know about these things, you are probably quite okay with that. You know what it is. For those of you who don't know, cholesterol comes in two forms: good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. So you've got the HDL, which is the good stuff, and then the LDL, which is the lesser. I like to. That's how I remember it. The high ones are good ones, and the lesser ones with an L. I always like to what do you call link things to words. So the L one is the lower one, and it should be lower. And that's how I remember it. So I'm going to be talking a bit about that today and what I'm going to do about it. Before I get on to that, birthdays. It was Angela's birthday in Las Vegas yesterday, so I hope she had a wonderful birthday. And I know, Jody, it's your anniversary tomorrow. I think I know that it's your anniversary, you and Lionel. How many magical years? And by the way, if we've missed your birthday this week, you had it this week or about to have one coming up the coming week, and you were a regular either on the chat or in listening after the chat, on the replay, just let us know so we can add you to the database. 24 years. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Anybody that manages to live with you for 24 years deserves a very special place. So, just going back to the cholesterol story, I adore um, Jodie to bits. So, first of all, um, I'd like to say that my cholesterol has been pretty steady. It's the first time it's been an issue in all the time. I am on meds to control it, by the way, just so you know. I'm on like a Crestor thing to control it, but it's never been a problem where they needed to up my medication, and that is what the doctor suggested that he do. And I said, well, um, you and I both know the reason it's gone up is probably because my diet has changed, and therefore, give me a little while just to see what I can do about my diet. And he said, so I doubt your diet's going to make the difference. And I said, even so, I would like some time to adjust my diet back, and then we'll retake it and see whether it's made any impact at all. I don't know about you, but I try not to take more pills than I have to, and I just don't think they're good for our bodies, quite honestly, most of them. I'm very happy that they kept me alive a couple of years ago, don't get me wrong, but they also know they were very dangerous to me at the time. So I'm more and more aware of the fact that I don't want to take pills when I can look after things better myself. So one of the things that I've always said is that good habits, bring you good results. How many of you agree with that? All right. On so many things, all right. Good habits bring you good results. Now, obviously, you can't change what's already done. Well, I say that in some cases. Some of you have got illnesses that you might have caused them by bad habits, but there's no way that you can change them back again to good, by good habits. You can probably stall the inevitable, but you can't necessarily correct it. So, oh, that's interesting. Jody's saying, I'm applauding you for being the most wonderful advocate for your own health. Well, I must admit that he was very complimentary to how I was looking, how I was sounding, the work I'd done, since the fact that I could hardly walk 6 months ago. He was quite pleased with me. So I was happy about that. However, so do you agree with me? Good habits bring good results. And it's just, quite honestly, it's as simple as that. I can have 1,001 excuses for it. I can beat up on myself for it. Why? All right. Do you agree that beating up on myself is not going to change my cholesterol? You're going, oh, I should have, this should have game. I should have all over myself, right? It's not going to change anything. Beating up on myself is not going to change anything. So every time I am inclined to do that, I remind myself this is not helping self. All right. What looking backwards does in so many cases is makes you depressed. It doesn't make you better. It makes you more depressed. What I should have done. Right. Well, I didn't. Moving on, because I cannot change what I have done. Do we all agree on that? I cannot change back to where I was before I obviously did some bad things. Now it's a case of what am I going to do from this point onwards? And so what I thought we'd do is have a little look at cholesterol, because chances are, if it's an issue for me, it might be an issue for some of my other viewers as well. So what I wanted to do was have a look at look towards the future. Yeah, Jeannie, it's just like, duh. So what I try to think about is what have I changed? All right. So, and my cholesterol has gone up. Wait a minute. I thought what did I do here? I had a little quote for you guys somewhere. Not a quote, but a factoid. I will find it as we go through. Anyway, so to me, it was a case of what do I know? Without going too deep into it all, what do I know I have changed? I'm definitely been eating more cream. On desserts, real cream, whipping cream. I know that I've been having that quite a bit, and so does that mean I've got to stop completely? No, it means be aware. All right, and the other thing is this: what I did is I had a look at real whipping cream versus the whipping cream in a can. And this turned out to be nearly 50% less cholesterol than the pure whipping cream. So how many of you know I'm going to be using cream in a can when I do want it? Why? Because it will last longer, but also it is less cholesterol than real whipping cream. So I also had a look. Have I been having more cheese? Now, some of you know I've been going a bit vegan, so we know that's already changed. But let me get my glasses on here so I can show you. My favorite cheese, and I'm inclined to have it every day, is not advertising it, just telling you it's called Red Leicester cheese. And it comes from England, and it cost me an arm and a leg, but I love it. And the cholesterol in here is 30 milligrams. That's quite a bit. So what do we know? What we know is it would be a really good idea for me to control how much of this I have. So instead of having this every day, the name of the cheese There you go. I'm not advertising it. I'm just trying to show a viewer the name. It's if Jeannie, just so you know, it's sort of got a bit more bite to it than cheddar, but it's the red Leicestershire. Actually, it should be red Leicestershire, not red Leicester. But just so you know, they've. Anyway, this is called the red one. They make a paler one. All right, so this is the red one. So it tastes a lot like, yeah, but I've noticed now. I only just noticed it because we were talking about it. They actually got it as red Leicester. Anyway, so a bit more of a bite than a regular cheddar. So if you want to know what's it close to, that would be it. So anyway, this is what I wanted to show you. This has, what did I say? 30 milligrams of cholesterol for a serving, which would be a 1 inch cube. Now, 1 inch cube. Yeah, I probably have 2 cubes a day. So, but you know that I've been buying fake cheese, and fake cheese has no cholesterol. So what do I know? Every other day, anytime I want it. Can you see the simple choices? It's not that I can't have cheese anymore. That's BS. You know, it's absolutely not true. What I can do is get more intelligent about it. All right. You know, Robert Allen said there is no failure, only feedback. So if I hadn't had the feedback, I wouldn't realize that I have been messing about with my diet. You know, I was so good with my diet. It kept my blood sugar under control, and it has kept my cholesterol under control. So it goes to show that, you know, I just been a little lax in that. Now, the other thing I had to look at, I think you all know that I buy this, what's it called? The Fairlife milk. You know, so it's like, has, Jody, what does it not have? No lactose. It's lactose free. So I had a look at that and I went, that's interesting. I wonder what is the story about my milk. So this milk, that 2%, which I'm inclined to have most of the time, the cholesterol in here is 20 milligrams per cup. Okay. But I also have the 1% that they sent this week by error. That's only 15. Yeah, I love my Fairlife as well. So this is just a quarter less cholesterol. So what I'm going to do is to use the 1% for most of the cooking. All right. And then use this just for when I have cereal. But hold on 1 second. Now, the reason I say hold on 1 second is because in my coffee, I make my lattes with skim milk powder. And the cholesterol in there is only 5. So that's been a healthier choice, right? However, if I had used the full milk, I've also got this as full whole milk. It's 30. Definitely not a good idea. That doesn't mean I can't ever have it. I assure you that, yeah, if push came to shove and I didn't have any milk anywhere, I'd be using it. So, do you see that I've got choices? I need to go back to my choices. It's not that I can't have milk. It's, be aware. Now, the other thing, I wanted to have a look at, because when I loaded up the pantry for the pandemic, One of the things I bought was coconut milk. And apparently you can make cream out of it. Has anybody done it? I'm going to be doing that tonight, not during the broadcast, but later. But what I wanted to tell you is what they recommend. They recommend put the can in the fridge for a day. And then what you do is you do that because then it will solidify the coconut and it will leave the water. All right. So they recommend that before you open it, turn the can upside down so the water is now at the top. Right. And then you can just drain off most of the water. Okay. Jodie says she's tried it and it works. And Jodie's saying, why do I get the feeling that your doc is going to be saying, she was right again? Actually, he did say I was right this time about something. What the heck was it? I was so grateful because my doctor's nurse was in the room with me because of the nature of some of the exam that they had to do. But, he actually said, something, Sal, you were right. Oh, yeah, I was right to come off that drug. And I said to her, could we just document this day, please? I've known him for nearly 30 years, I would think, and it's the first time he's ever told me I'm right. Anyway. So again, about cream, all right? Now, if I find that I quite like the coconut cream, then maybe I can have that most of the week and just have the squirty cream in a can once a week. Do you understand where I'm getting to with this? I don't have to make huge changes. I just need to make better ones. There's something else I wanted to show you from there, and I can't remember what it was. It'll probably come to me. So cholesterol is, one of those things that, will give you a heart attack, all right, if you don't keep it under control. So one of the things that I am aware of is that I try to eat a sort of a fairly regular diet, which I've obviously changed up, push the envelope a bit. Now I've got to pull that envelope back again. But here's the first thing. One of the things I try to do every day for my digestive system, because everything I'm reading these days is your digestive system is one of the most important things to get under control. And, we eat a lot of stuff that doesn't help our digestive system. So I'm pretty sure you all know that you need to, if you can, try and eat a salad every day. How many of you do that? Doesn't matter what sort of salad. And it's just like make one salad part of your day. You have a time, at 4:00 in the afternoon, I eat a salad, right? And the reason for that is, we're going back now, if you like, to the Mediterranean diet. One of the reasons the Mediterranean diet works so well is because they eat a lot of salad with dressing. Okay. Now I make my own dressing, and I have done for years. And this is a balsamic vinegar. Hang on a second. It's a balsamic vinegar, olive oil, a little bit of honey, and cumin. Want to tell you, magic dressing. However, have any of you noticed that the price of olive oil has gone through the roof? Has anybody noticed that? Now, if so, here's my advice to you. It's a bit like the pandemic thing. If you are somebody that uses good olive oil, and I'm talking about the pure virgin, or not made by pure virgins, by the way, pure virgin olive oil. If you are somebody that uses that, I would say if you can afford to buy a tin of it, you know what I mean? Like a tin of it, do it. If you can afford that, do it. Why? I have a feeling that the price of olive oil, the good olive oil, is going to go even higher and a lot higher. So the question is, how much olive oil do you use in a year? And, as long as you can keep it contained, do the research, see how long you can keep olive oil in a dark, cool space. And as far as I know, it'll last you over a year. So if you say I use about a liter of the goods, oh no, hang on a second, you're Americans, you know, a quart, or a couple of quarts, whatever you use in a year, then try and buy that, but make sure you can seal it properly and keep it in a dark, cool space. All right. But that was the other thing. How much. Oh, Jody's saying I use both olive oil and avocado oil. Yep. One of the things that I was reading about was that they recommend that, if necessary, you remember we said, what is really surprising, if you use 50% really good quality coffee and 50% of the cheaper stuff, you really don't notice it that much. That you don't notice the cheap stuff, you just taste the good stuff. Don't know why that is, but I know Jody, after I said it, Jody tried it and she agrees with me. So one of the things that they're recommending is if you really love olive oil, but can't afford the price that's happening, then you may want to cut your expensive olive oil with a generic one. All right, and just mix it whatever you can afford, right? No, I know if Manon caught me doing that, she'd probably had a conniption, but never mind. Yes, Jody's saying we saved a small fortune on good coffee. I have too. All right, now the reason I thought I don't know if any of you are interested as to why the cost of olive oil has gone so haywire. Hang on one second, because there is a reason for it. All right, so Jeannie's saying, I'm going to buy grapeseed oil, not much taste, but high boiling point. Okay. So I basically use my olive oil mostly for my salads. Now, the question I also want to ask is did you know that when I make this, I also add in a little bit of, I use balsamic vinegar, which is very tasty, but I also add in a little bit apple cider vinegar. Why? It's good for you. So, and I don't notice it. All right. It's the fact that it's in my dressing, I don't notice it. Whereas I don't like the taste of it in other ways. All right. Yeah. So now we've got two bits of information. Apparently both grapeseed oil and avocado oil have a high smoke point. What about peanut butter? Peanut oil? Low? Hold on one second. The reason I'm asking is because what I do is when I buy my peanut butter, I always take the oil off the top. You see that? And it's amazing. Some of it is solidified in the fridge and some of it hasn't. So, see, that's why I love doing these broadcasts, because we seem to learn so much. So, good news. Thanks for the input there, Jeannie, as well, and Jody for yours. So anyway, I wanted to tell you why the cost of a real high-quality olive oil has gone up. Apparently, Europe has faced droughts for the past 3 years, okay, which has resulted in worsening harvests in the olives. There's been a huge drought in Portugal and Spain and Greece, and they're big producers as well. So, it's just a case of, as the climate change continues, this may be a bigger issue. I thought I'd give you guys a heads up on that in case you didn't know. Make sense? Oh, That's interesting. Jody, you are full of wonderful news. Grapeseed has a 421 degree Fahrenheit smoke point. Peanut oil that I got for free from my peanut butter is at 450. And then avocado is at 520. How about that? All interesting stuff. So, and cholesterol? Yeah, I don't know. Do either of them have cholesterol, or peanut oil? Does that have cholesterol? Does anybody know? While Jody's having a look for that, let me continue. Another thing. After my COVID shot, I have to tell you, I was not doing too well. Friday's broadcast, I did it, but I was not feeling well, to be honest, and I've been off all weekend. But I'm getting better, but I'm just not quite firing on all cylinders. Do you know what I mean? So if any of you are getting the booster, just be aware. Uh, I would like to suggest that it felt like it was a pretty powerful one this time. That's what I felt. Anyway, not sure. The other thing I learned, by the way, when I did the physical, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you, but I've had a problem with what felt like a torn muscle. And I've had it for nearly a year, quite honestly. Um, and what we think it is actually a rotator cuff problem. In other words, there's a muscle that is part of my rotator cuff. I didn't realize that a rotator cuff was all muscle and ligaments going across holding your arm in place. I don't know why. I always thought a rotator cuff was um, bone rather than muscle, but apparently it's obviously I'm not as intelligent as some of you because I didn't know that. Anyway, so it turns out that he thinks what it is just by where the pain is on it, that it is part of the rotator cuff, that muscle structure that has torn slightly. And it, quite honestly, sort of grin and bear it, really. The only other option I have is to have an operation, to have them have a look at it and maybe fix it, but it's not worth it. So, but I'm mentioning it because it was another thing that I didn't expect to hear. I was hoping he was going to say, "Oh, well, with that muscle, all you have to do is, wear a bandage on that and, support it." Maybe that would be an idea anyway. To like the tennis players have those special sleeves that they put on. Maybe that would help it. I'll have to consider getting one of those. Anyway, so that is all this stuff. Now, the other thing is, here we go. Jody's saying sesame, peanut, chia, olive, and avocado are all good choices for people with cholesterol concerns. That's what I thought. How about flax? Because that's the thing I'm going to talk about next. So another place where we know we have cholesterol is eggs. All right. Now, I must admit, on Sundays, I make myself a mini cake every Sunday, right? And the way I do it is I take a packaged cake, for example, one like this, okay? And I mix it up. But normally I put an egg in it. So I have about a cup of powder and an egg and whip it up with a little bit extra milk if I need it. But then I thought, is there a way I can drop using that egg? Now, I'm obviously still going to have eggs, people, because eggs are good for you. But it's like, can I use less? So here's what I found out. And this is a good thing to know as well, just in terms of your emergency preparedness, all right? This is some flaxseed that I have pulverized, all right? So what they say is like, I'm going to put That's probably too much, but never mind. I put 2 teaspoons, heaped teaspoons of crushed flaxseed and some water. Now, do any of you do this instead of using eggs? Now, what they say is just mix it up and then leave it for about 15 minutes, which is what we're going to do. Because you know, when we do these experiments, I like to do them as honestly as I can. Yes, flaxseed may help lower cholesterol levels. That's what I thought as well. So we're going to leave that for 15 minutes. And then we'll see if it works. Some feedback. For those of you who watch me make that lemon rind and almond sauce on Friday, boy, that was tasty with pasta. And then I've also used some of it to make a smoothie. Boy, that was a tasty smoothie. So what did we have? We had lemons, almonds, and I think I threw some basil in. Am I correct on that one? But I want to tell you, it was really, really quite tasty. I was, definitely it's a go-to again. All right, so Jody is saying also oils such as lemon oil, lavender oil, and peppermint are known for being cholesterol lowering properties as well. Maybe we can add a bit of those oils to our cooking somehow. That's exactly what I wanted to open up that discussion, right? So we can all be aware and just make little changes, because if we make little changes by adding in the good stuff, all right, then these little steps are that much healthier. So, by the way, this was my basil plant that I bought living, all right, on April the 26th. Okay, there's the date. And I've used quite a bit of it, over half of it, as you can see. So what I thought was I would give this one a bit of a chance to regrow. And I bought 2 more. Why? Because I realized that I really do use it quite a bit. Both, I throw basil into my salads, and I use it quite a bit for my cooking. So I bought 2 more. The other thing is, I'm doing an experiment with bok choy. I bought some baby bok choy. I've eaten some of it, about a third of it, and the rest of it I am waiting to see if I can get roots on it, and if so, then we've got everlasting sort of bok choy, right? For those of you who watched this was my red lettuce that I bought on May the 16th. And I don't know if you can see the roots now on that. Right, so this was a living red lettuce. And all I do is, I wish you could see me do it. Every day I turn it a quarter, and then I take the leaves and then the next day I turn it a quarter, and I take some of those leaves, and then I turn it a corner and take some of those leaves, and some from the bigger ones from inside. Get the idea? But and I'm amazed how much water it drinks. Just so you know, I fill it up to here every night, and by the time I go to bed, the water is down here. You think it's grown, Jeannie? I've been eating quite a bit of it, quite honestly. So again, think about this. I paid for the bunch, and by putting it in water, it's continued to grow. How many of you remember I put some basil? I bought just to do the experiment, right? I bought some basil in a bunch, and I put them into a jar like this, and I did it on April 25th. The original basil is now in the AeroGarden because roots grow so well. I've now put them in the AeroGarden to really, multiply. And this is my second lot of tests, and I put these in water, all right, on May the 24th. So again, I'm trying to be self-sustaining on basil. I'll get there. All a learning process. Anybody want to see that big cabbage? It's a heavy one, this one. Don't let me drop it. Okay, look at the roots on this thing. Okay. Does that look like it's growing? Quite nicely, thank you. Again, surprised how much water it sucks up. It's called a Savoy cabbage. That's what it's called, the Savoy cabbage. So, and I take a couple of leaves off it every week, all right, to make coleslaw or to use in my stir fries. So it's doing really well. By the way, my other one, the one that I was using before, is out on the deck, carrying on growing. I thought I'd give it a month off while I work my way through this one. You see, the question is, how many do I need? How many do I need to be able to rotate them? All right. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be only 2 or 3 would do it. So the only thing is cabbage smells, right? So not everybody wants the smell of cabbage in the kitchen. So I disguise mine a bit. All right, so there we go. But isn't that amazing? Yeah, it looks healthy, and it's it's getting enough sunlight because it's still green, and it's even growing some. You need to grow upwards, not downwards, little thing. Come on, up you go. There you go. Now Jody is busy. She just said that here. She's busy planting 7 tomato seeds. She said no sprouts yet. Jody, I wanted to tell you, but I didn't. But I thought I'd show you. The best way, just for next time, learning. Remember, feedback is what we're talking about. The best way actually is just to put them into a baggie with some wet tissue paper, toilet tissue, right? Not sopping wet, just wet it and then squeeze it out and then put it, and then close the baggie up. You're creating a mini greenhouse, and then they will sprout, and you get much more joy, Jody, because you can see them sprout. Am I growing bok choy? Yes, I'm trying to. How's this doing? Yeah, it's getting there. Jody, all I've done is I got some baby bok choy, and I've just put it so just that bottom part of it is in water. Okay. I have had to peel off some leaves that didn't look too healthy, but yeah, I love bok choy as well, especially in stir fry. So again, another cabbage type thing. Shall we do the experiment with the flaxseed? What do you think? Let me do that last. I'm just looking at it here, and it's definitely thickened. See that? So it's definitely thickened. We'll give it a bit more time. So exciting. I love these things. All right, however, now then, on the subject of saving money. Do any of you buy those wax beads that you throw into your wash? Probably called Unstoppables. The reason I'm asking you is because they are pretty darn expensive. And I checked, and in Canada, they are this expensive, $15.99. So call it $16 Canadian. But love how it makes the wash smell. All right. So what I wondered, because I'm full of experiments, could I make my own version of that in a different way? So what I did was I happened to have some Epsom salts, and my Epsom salts were peppermint flavored Epsom salts. Okay. And I paid $20 for the whole bag. That is a 2-pound bag. 2.2. No. Yeah, Jody, have wait a minute. This maybe it tells me in American. Yeah, it's a 10-pound bag. There you go. All right. So for 10 pounds of it already has a fragrance to it. It's peppermint. That was pretty good. All right. Jody's saying the Unstoppables are $16 at her Walmart. All right. So we're about on par with those, except the exchange rate is different. All right. So here's what I did. I took a mason jar, reused a pizza thing, and filled it with Epsom salts. And then, what did I like? I like the Unstoppable perfume. I don't know about you guys. That's why we buy it, right? So then I went, wait a minute, I've got some of that. I've got it. I bought it as fabric spray. And that only cost me $7.49 as fabric spray. So what I did was, I just took the Epsom salts and I packed in some of the high scented stuff and then shook it up. And now when I do my wash, I put a capful in the rinse cycle where you would put the downy stuff, right? I just put a capful in there. And it actually has surprised me because a couple of times I thought, oh, that smells so good. And I went, oh, yeah, I did that. So a total cost of $27. And I've already used a whole thing of this. I would say it would last me a year. All right. So I was pretty excited about that. Hope that helps some of you. It's all about, if it's getting too expensive, is there another way? And we know it's all getting too expensive, so let's keep finding other ways. By the way, if you like these little save money moments, just let me know on the replay or let me know with a thumbs up on the video or whatever, because I'm constantly looking at how can I save $1 here so I can afford to keep buying the things I want to buy that are costing more. All right, so Jody's saying that in the US, a bag of Epsom salts, 10-pound bag, costs about $24. Huh. Okay. So, but again, if you think about it, you actually save quite a bit of money and not lose a whole lot of fragrance. Okay. Which brings me to the last experiment. Big savings. Well, I'm not sure if it's huge savings, Jody, but I think it is significant. That's why I'm talking about it. So Elon Musk said, I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. One of the things I love about doing Dear Mama Sal is I'm constantly looking for how can I save money. For example, everlasting vegetables would be, in certain vegetables. By the way, I really recommend buying a sweet potato. I'm looking much more at what I call hard vegetables, hard root vegetables, all right, because they last so long. Um, and this was a sweet potato I bought, must have been a month ago, all right, and in a lot of cases, I'm going. It's got carrot on it. Hang on a second. It's gonna upset me. Okay. But a lot of stir fries and things where I would normally use potato, I'm now using a little bit of sweet potato just chopped up, or in my soups. So there you go. All right. But this time I'm going to buy the red garnet yam because I love that orangey one. Same sort of thing, right? So that's my next one, but it's lasted me nearly a month, which is surprising. All right, let's put these away. And then we'll do the experiment. All right, so what I would normally do is I would normally take a jar and I put in about a cup of powder. So this is just happens to be this cake mix is the spice cake mix. Okay, that's what I would normally do, and then I would add an egg. I've got a feeling this could end up being more than one egg's worth, but we'll see. Okay, and then I would normally add 2%, but of course we know I've now learned that where possible, use the 1%. Hang on, what's that one? Jody's saying, thank you. Jody's saying, Sal, you do quite a bit of prep for these segments. Thank you for all your effort. Well, I work on the principle that if it works for me, it might work for you guys. So I normally would have used 2%, but now I'm using 1%. Just add a bit in there. Might need a bit more. Take a fork. I like to put extra allspice in mine because I know that those spices are good for you. Okay, so I've just mixed it up. I didn't measure it. I just roughly. Okay, and now what I'm going to do now the different ways of doing this. All right. What I'm going to do is show you the way I normally do it, and let's see it. Let's hope it works. I've just got a regular ramekin, all right, and I'm just going to put. It's a bit thick. It's a bit like me. It's a bit thick. Hang on, people. And I know it's too thick because it's not running, so we'll add a bit more milk to it. It's so good. It's like ginger cookies. Good point. There we go. So I'm just going to pour some of it in here to make like a mini cake. There we go. Okay, but I've still got more, and I will make, after the broadcast, I'll make a couple of muffin type things from it, or a couple of cupcakes from it, okay? However, let's see if it works the way I would normally do it. I can't cross my fingers anymore because it's got arthritis. Keeping my fingers crossed. This is a first-time experiment, so I'm prepared to fail. But that's what I would normally do, just add an egg and a little bit of milk and then put it in the microwave for a minute. Depending on how much I've got in there, sometimes it takes 2 minutes, but let's see if it works. Dum, 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 dum. So exciting. I don't see it rising. We just test it to see if it's done. Yeah. Okay. It's so exciting. You see how it's pulled away from the sides? It probably needs just a little bit more. Yeah, you can do it with just, going to give it another 30 seconds. And I've been making my mini cakes like this for the longest time. It's just like, I don't want to make a big cake because if I do, you know, I'll eat it all, right? That's who I am. So I had to learn to make mini cakes so that I could still enjoy them, but I wouldn't get rid of a big one. Let me put that in the fridge. That looks better. Now, it's gone down a bit from the original one, but what I want to show you is that come on, it, it did rise. Oh, wait. Come on, help me here. There we go. All right, so it did become a mini cake. And now I can put fresh strawberries with it and a little bit of squidge. Now then, how much cholesterol in this mini cake? See, that's the point that I wanted to make, because I haven't put an egg in it. And so we know that what I replaced the egg with was flaxseed. So, and that doesn't have cholesterol. So now the question is, how much does this say it would have had if I'd used an egg? No cholesterol. That's almost impossible, isn't it? How is that possible? It said to use 3 eggs. How would 3 eggs not be any cholesterol? For a tenth of a package, hello. Anyway, so, but what I wanted to show you was, without any fuss or bother, if I wanted to, all right, I can still make a really nice little mini cake and have my, strawberries and stuff with it. And what I've done is just reduce that dessert by an egg. Little steps, baby steps, all adding up to a healthier change. So going back to where I started, the feedback that my cholesterol had jumped. And that's what I had. And I don't know why I couldn't find it, but I do want to just talk about that if I can find it. Hold on a second. I obviously didn't put it in the right place, so let me search for it. I took a screenshot, so I look in photos. No, can't find it. Anyway, so here was the thing. I'm not sure what is normal in the States, and that's what I had documented. Maybe I can still find it if I search. But for example, in Canadian figures, my cholesterol should be under 2. All right, whatever's. And mine's 2.9, so it's like 50% higher than it should be at the moment. I'm going to find it because I know I did the research for it. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention was I've stopped eating oats. I used to eat oats at least a couple of times a week, or in fact more, a couple of times just as oats, and then I also added it to my smoothies, and I've stopped doing that. I've stopped getting on my mini bike. Haven't done that regularly. Another thing, right? I was getting more exercise, and therefore I was working this cholesterol off. So yeah, that's what I thought. Jody's saying 1 large raw egg is 186 milligrams of cholesterol. I knew that to be true. That's why I'm saying I didn't believe what it told me. So you understand, when I look at it, there are things that I've changed, not for the better, right? Stopped eating oats regularly, and oats are really good for if you've got cholesterol. I've stopped eating. I started eating more cream, a heavy cream. With a lot of cholesterol. So, I paid the price. It's called a self-inflicted wound. Oops. But somewhere I had the figures where I had the American equivalent. Anyway, I'm certain if you're interested, you can look it up for yourselves. But basically, I will have a full panel done again in January. And I may do 3 or 4 months and then say, do you want to redo the panel now or wait until January? All right. Because now I'm going to increase my exercise again and I'm going to smarten up a little bit. I'm still going to live my life. And that's the other thing. Jeannie was saying on Friday, right, that like she now walks with a cane, as I did for quite a few months. I was lucky by doing very simple exercises on my bed at night. I managed to be able to walk without a cane again. And Jeannie, I wondered if you're interested in knowing what I did, in the hope that it might help you. Because really, what I've done wasn't extreme, and I had to do it on my bed because I couldn't get up and down off the floor easily. So just waiting to see if she wants to know. So to me, it's again, I could have said, that's it. I've got to the age now where I'm going to need a cane. And then I heard from one of my neighbors who happens to be a Pilates instructor. And she was telling me the story that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, where I think it's in Australia. You don't get to go in for a knee operation or a hip operation if you haven't been through therapy to do certain exercises. And what they found out, that these exercises have lowered their need to do operations by like 50%, which is a good idea. All right, Jeannie, can you imagine that I'm lying in bed and this is my upper leg, this is my kneecap, and then imagine my legs are here. So I start with them like this. All right? All right, I'm just going to tell you what I do, and you can do your version of it, whatever works for you. What I do is I actually start with both of them like this, and I will take the better one, which is my right one, and I will just move that knee as far as is comfortable. All right? Don't overdo anything, just as far as is comfortable. And I just leave it there for, whatever count I can do and be comfortable. And then I come back again. Then I do this one that doesn't go as far. And I can't hold it there as long. And then bring it back again. All right. And I do that about 10 times. And then I do the other bit of that, which is I lie on my back and I will keep the one leg straight, but then I will twist my spine, okay, and put my one knee over as far as I can. Do you get what I'm saying? So basically, I'm lying flat, and what I will do is that. Again, not so it hurts me, just so I can feel it, all right? Because what I'm looking for is to stretch those muscles, not to cause chaos, all right? So I just do that with them. Actually, just doing it standing up is interesting. And then I will do that the opposite way. All right? You see my knee. Actually, probably now that I know that, it's probably not a bad idea to do it while you're standing. And what I can do is I can feel it here. All right? These muscles in my butt are being used. So that's another one that I do. And then I bring my knees up to my chest as far as I can, one at a time, and hold them. Again, easier on the right leg than on the left. And then I'm not right the way up to my chest, I must admit. And then I will hold both as far as I can. And literally, that is all that I've been doing. And look at me, I've gone from walking with a cane to being able to go up and down stairs without even holding on now. So I'm doing something right. But be very, very careful. Maybe discuss it with your doctor. I have a feeling I have some issues with my spine as well. So, we'll see. I was in an accident, and my right side has been funny. My right hip has been funny ever since that. And I did that in my 30s. And it was so bad, I couldn't do a car drive without sitting on ice. Did I go and have it checked out? No. What was I thinking? Anyway, so I paid the price. But the thing is, I know that if I don't use it, I will lose it. All right. So I'm not saying don't use a cane. I'm saying if I'm going over somewhere, for example, if I go around the block here without anybody with me, I'll take a walking cane with me. Basically, not because I need it anymore, but basically, what if I do need it suddenly? So to me, that's really important from a safety perspective. All right, there we go. So I hope you've learned something today. I hope you will be careful with your cholesterol and not make the mistake that I just made. But it's not the end of my world. What it is a wake-up call that I have not been well behaved. I haven't been that bad. It's not critical or anything. What it is much higher than I should have it. So now it's time to smarten up. And if I can't smarten it up myself, then I will take the extra pills that will help me smarten it up. Make sense? But I don't want to just automatically take the pills without doing what I can, first of all. But again, it's about quality of life. See, now I'm busy doing different things with with my hips. That's a really interesting thing to do. I'm standing with my feet sprayed apart, my hands holding onto the countertop, and now I'm touching a hip to the countertop and touching a hip to the countertop. That feels good. Feels like that's using some muscles I didn't use before. So I like that. I'm going to be doing more of that. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. I hope you do. I am glad to have made it all the way through the broadcast because I wasn't sure I'd be able to. So I am happy that I'm back watching the tennis out of Paris this week. So going to be a lot of downtime. Time to sit on Billy the bike. And I will see you all on Friday with more information that I hope makes your life easier and helps you cope better. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you to Jody and to Jeannie and everybody else that might be watching in the background. So nice to see you, and come back and join us again. Bye-bye for now.